Okay. Uh, well, I mean, we kind of knew that the 0-2 was very likely, um, but these are the Vikings, and they couldn't just you know lose in the way you kind of expected to. The circumstances. I think a lot of people thought this could be a massacre, and it was kind of looking like it might be a massacre there for a while, but of course there was going to be a massacre. Of course they're going to at least get your hopes up a little bit, maybe late. I mean, I never really felt like the Vikings were gonna be able to come back and win because, um, similar to last week, it just seemed like they were never gonna get the ball back. Um, you and they get the ball back there at the very end with like what was it, like 7 seconds left or something like that. So I mean, you could go glass half full or glass half empty in this. I mean, most fans are going to go glass half empty because they're addicted to the misery. The glass half empty is that you know they very easily could have won this game, but they fumbled the ball 4 fucking times, including, I mean, the big play, the big swing play of the game. You know, Justin Jefferson. We've seen this happen before. This happened with the Vikings before. I forget who did it. There was a game some years back. I want to say it was Chester Taylor maybe who did it. Like a big point in the game, and it's like you reach for the white stripe on the end, and you forget to hold on to the ball. It's like you're throwing the ball at the white stripe. No, hold on to the fucking ball. I mean, like that was gonna be what, first and goal at worst. Like that wasn't gonna be a touchdown probably anyway, but it was gonna be like first and goal at like the 1 or 2 yard line with plenty of time left still at that point. To run whatever plays you want. Like it was as close to a guaranteed touchdown in that situation as you could get. Instead, we get nothing, and then maybe the most disgusting part is we let the Eagles, with like 30 seconds left, run the ball. They didn't even throw it. They just ran the ball. A 2 minute, a 30-second drill where they just run the ball a bunch of times, get into field goal range, and a fucking course 61-yard field goal goes right through the uprights. Why wouldn't it? It is impossible for an opposing kicker to miss a field goal against the Vikings. It never happens. If it does, it's a goddamn miracle. We might get about one or two a year. It's unbelievable. And I know kickers in general, are better than ever. Not for us, but um, these guys, they never miss. It's unbelievable. Last week Tampa gets a 57-yarder, goes splits the fucking uprights. To tonight a 61-yarder. They're going to hit a 70-yard field goal on us sometime. It's going to happen. I don't know what the current record is for the longest field goal, but you know, um, I got to see all that. I kind of missed some of the first half. I was otherwise preoccupied, but I did see that. I missed the other couple fumbles, or I think I saw the Madison fumble. I missed there was a fumble on a punt return by Brandon Powell. He's literally on the roster just to be a punt returner, and he drops the fucking football. Reminds me of Jalen Rager, who was here last year just to be a punt returner basically, and he muffed a couple. Everyone mocked the Vikings for when they kept bringing back Marcus Sherrills year after year. This is why. Um, and Madison, puts one on the ground too. Through 2 games, Alexander Madison is a complete failure. I mean, the Vikings have no running game at all. through 2 games, and a big part of that, I mean, obviously the biggest part of that is the offensive line. But another big part of it is Alexander Madison doesn't do anything to help out. He runs into contact. Saw it a couple more times tonight. You've got a hole, and he runs into the defender. Stop running into the defender. Run to daylight. Run away from contact, because God knows we don't have anybody who seems to be able to break a tackle. There were a bunch of those plays tonight too. It's like, boy, if we can't we can't break tackles. It's one of the many things that's frustrating the hell out of me. But yeah, and then so we should have been up probably 14-10 at the half, and then we get the ball to start the third quarter, and like the second play, left tackle gets destroyed, and for some reason the announcing crew was saying it was Darashaw. Well, let's see. It wasn't Darasaw in the game, and his name is not Darashaw. Good job, Herb Street. It was Oli Udo. He gets beat. Kirk gets strip sacked. They get the ball, and they cash in on a touchdown very quickly. And then I think the next series, they get a deep shot bomb, 60-some yards. And it's 27-7. And we've put the ball on the ground 4 times. And we're going to be destroyed on another primetime game. And everyone's going to say all the shit that they want to say. And, it's just nauseating. It's fucking nauseating. But I mean, from that point, like, they didn't let it happen. And I know this is the glass half full portion now. I know it doesn't help. It doesn't help in the standings. I think it does mean something that they legitimately made it a game. And this wasn't, I mean, I'm sure that because Kirk's involved, they'll say it was garbage time, because, of course, that's one of the long-standing narratives of Kirk, is that anytime he puts up any good numbers, it's all garbage time. But, they go up, they're up, 27-7 at that point. Kirk makes that nice, play fake there to, free up Addison deep. Great pitch and catch throw, touchdown. They're back in it a little bit. Defense starts to give them a little bit of a shot. I think that might have been the next series. Might have been the one where Daniil Hunter got sacks on back-to-back plays. So we get a little bit of a chance, and then I think we had a 3-and-out in there somewhere, and I think we might have had another drive that didn't amount to anything. Those 3-and-outs have been really, really fortunate. I don't know. We've got a lot of 3-and-outs this year, and the defense was already really gassed from not just not stopping the run, but I mean just being on the field all the time, and they're giving up big gash runs again, and what was it, like 250 yards on the ground, and obviously the Eagles run like crazy because Hurts runs a lot, but it's I don't know what the time of possession ended up being. I don't think it was quite as bad as last week as far as the second half goes, but because we at least did have a couple of drives in this game in the second half. But again, like the defense, you see the 34 points, you're like, oh, this defense isn't any good. Again, I feel like the defense, for the most part, did their part. Yeah, you're facing the Eagles in Philly. You're going to give up some stuff. I mean, I'm not even, like even the deep shots, like, look, it's going to happen. You're facing a guy who was, almost a Super Bowl winning quarterback, as an MVP candidate. I mean, you're going to give up some stuff. It's not even that mad about it. And they, for the most part, kind of held them in check in the first half. And obviously one of the touchdowns in the second half was practically just handed right to them. So, you know, I don't think, you know, through 2 games, I really don't think the defense has been the problem. I mean, they definitely have issues as far as getting off the field, you know, but again, they're on the field all the time because we have turnovers and we have 3 and outs and we have you know they're being put in some very bad spots. But you know we were able to they were able to kind of just stay in it, and then what was the next one? The Kirk, the one where he hit KJ Osborne as so wide open that even KJ Osborne couldn't drop the ball. I think KJ Osborne. Whew, I think the biggest of in terms of skill players, the biggest disappointment so far is Madison. But boy, KJ Osborne is right on his heels because there was a couple today that you know there was a real big one on one of the drives late where it was like a 20-yard pass and KG just drops it, and they picked it up. I think maybe on the next play to JJ, but I mean, if 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 uh, if there was any doubt who's going to be the number 2 receiver, it's over. It's Jordan Addison. Um, but like, and of course, the offensive line is as banged up as it is. I don't understand. One thing I really don't understand: they had Christian Darasaw active, but they didn't put him in the game. And Oliudo, somewhere in the second half, he got hurt. I think it had to have been a pretty serious injury because they took the card out. And so you're down to like a third. You're down one left tackle. Now you're down the backup, but you've got the starting left tackle active in uniform, but they don't put him in. I believe they put in the Quesenberry, the guy they picked up from the Bills on waivers a few weeks ago, who I didn't even realize was a tackle. I thought he was a guard, but so I don't understand that at all. Just minor complaint. I don't think it matters at all. But like, why even have Darasaw in there? Have him active if you're not even going to play him. If a situation comes up where the left tackle who's in there is hurt. So presumably that means Darasaw will be able to play the next game, but that bugs me. I don't know. I don't know who they would have had active to fill that spot, but I mean they could have had someone up from the practice squad, but yeah, I mean the offensive line was Kirk was getting killed again. I don't know how many sacks they ended up with. I don't think they actually got that many sacks, but again it was Kirk getting killed, and he's like you have to give him the credit for standing in there and being able to just keep firing that ball when he's getting killed. And he was like full gunslinger mode in that second half, and he made some fantastic throws, and and Jefferson made some outstanding catches. There was one that almost looked like a certain interception, and he pulled it away. It's like huge game from Jefferson. What did he have? Like 100. It was definitely well over 100 yards again. Hawkinson had a pretty good game. He got a touchdown or 2 touchdowns because got the one late. But you have a gas defense, and then they broke that long run late to pretty much seal the deal, because once they put it back up to 2 scores, at that point there was like 4 or 5 minutes left. It was pretty much over. But they get back down there and get a score. We didn't get the onside kick. I mean, those almost never work. I can't even remember the last time we got an onside kick. And technically we got the ball back with like 7 seconds left, and Kirk threw it a long way, and hell, that was like a 60-some yard pass in the air. But there's no miracle play there to save us. You know, but if you want to be encouraged, I am encouraged. The offense, and it wasn't just garbage time. I mean, the Eagles were still coming after him. Um, you know, with a tattered offensive line, no running game at all. They got to be the worst team in the league right now running the football. I don't know what's going to take, man. They got to do something with Madison. They can't keep. I mean, they didn't sign him for too much money, but right now that's looking like a huge mistake to even bother bringing him back. Because I think he had like 30 something yards last week, and I think he had I don't even think he had 30 yards in this game. But Kirk was the gunslinger. He was getting after it, making some great throws. I'm sure everyone will just want to harp on the strip sack. I mean, for God's sake, I even saw people blaming him for the JJ fumble. It's like, well, if he threw the pass in a different spot, JJ's in the end zone easily. Massive Kirk Cousins derangement syndrome. I mean, world-class level Kirk Cousins derangement syndrome. To blame him for a receiver fumbling the ball after he had made the catch. It's astonishing. And everyone's just like, Kirk in prime time, he lost again. God, motherfucker threw for 4 touchdowns, like 300 and 60 something yards. Third string left tackle for much of the game, backup center, facing one of the best defensive fronts in football. Like, I'm so over this shit of everybody dumping on Kirk for everything. I couldn't believe that people were legitimately blaming him for the JJ fumble. It's astonishing to me. It's like Kirk just has a little bit of time. He's a fucking beast out there. And I don't know what the hell they're going to do with this offensive line. I mean, I assume Darisaw will be able to go against the Chargers. I assume that. Bradbury, who knows? But you have to kind of assume Bradbury's out. When it's a back thing, you got to kind of assume he's out. But what else from this game? I never felt like they were going to win. I never, just because the time was against them. They just didn't have the time, and we knew they couldn't really stop their run game. So the odds of getting the ball, getting enough possessions and getting, having enough time was just very, very slim. But I mean, I don't look at last week. It was very much like the offense was kind of letting down the defense. This one, I don't necessarily think that. I just think, it's just the turnovers, man. I mean, most games are decided by turnovers, and we're what are we, 7-1 against? I think through 2 games. We did get the 1 pick off of Hurts. But I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know. How do you explain that? It's an oddly shaped ball that you play with. I don't know what. Weird things can happen with it. I don't know what the explanation is for why the fumbles. Because Ed Ingram didn't knock the ball out of anyone's hands this week. That was nice. But yeah, I don't know what the explanation is. I mean, and then they did have some kind of bonehead plays. Was it Harrison Phillips got played on the hard count, just the amateurish stuff that teams do. Is like, how do you get caught on that? Come on, man, you're a veteran player. What are you doing? But I mean, that we have Osborne dropping passes. We got we didn't have too many significant penalties, I don't think. But it's like I don't know if you can blame coaching for guys fumbling. I mean, hold on to the fucking football. So it's frustrating because they were in this game and just these massive swing plays, these massive momentum plays have all gone against them so far this year. And I know everyone's like, oh, they used up all their luck last year. Well, how do you explain the previous 60 years where they've been probably the unluckiest team in professional sports? I don't think one season of being somewhat lucky, evens the scales on that. I'm sorry. I don't think that it does. But they've had no, absolutely no luck this year because no one can miss a field goal on them. They can't hold on to the ball. Weird shit happens to screw them out of scoring chances. It's just so. I don't know. I've been going for over 20 minutes. And it's late. I'm tired. So they're 0-2. Currently the only 0-2 team in football. Yes, the Vikings have the worst record in the National Football League, and we have to sit with that for a couple more days. But we just keep at it. I'll say this. People have been mad, crazy mad at Kwesi for not, bringing in guys this week. Like, there was nobody you were going to bring in this week who could have played in this game that would have made any difference. The difference now is you've got 10 days until the Chargers. You've certainly got, for most of it, you lost an offensive lineman for the season. When you have to get the card out for a guy, that's usually season-ending type stuff. So you've got a roster spot for a lineman. Your running game is atrocious. Maybe you go sign a Kareem Hunt. You obviously still need some help on the defensive line. So maybe go sign a lineman, whatever. You got cap space. They just reworked Brian O'Neill's contract. I think just within the last few days, frees up some more cap space. You know what? None of this. Oh, let's carry the cap space over. No, go pick up a few guys to help your team because you need help, and you can do it. The season is far from over. You've got spots on your roster that can be improved, and you need to do it. And I will rip Kwesi if he doesn't. But yeah, we're got to sit with 0-2 now. I don't think most people saw him at 0-2. I think most people saw him at 1-1. That's why losing that Tampa game was so crucial because you knew this was coming, and it would have been great to make up for that game with winning this one. But if this had been a full week rest, would it have made any difference? I don't know. That's a lot of snaps to have to take on defense in 4 days. But I don't know. I know they need to stop putting the fucking ball on the ground. The interception last week too was really, really huge. I think some of the stuff we see with Osborne, are we going to still blame Kirk for last week's interception? Better not, because I think we're seeing that KJ Osborne is a bit of a liability right now. Yeah, let's just stop putting the fucking ball on the ground. You're -3 in the take give in 2 straight games, and if you're -3 in the take give, most of the time you're not going to win. And they've done it 2 straight weeks, and they haven't won either game, and they probably would have won both games if they weren't -3 in the take give. So, guess just have to sit with this now for 10 days. Hope we get some good results on Sunday. Maybe some of the other teams in the division can lose. I think there's at least a chance that some of these other teams in the division will get losses. And we'll just get ready for the Chargers in 10 days. And I do think the Vikings are going to come out pissed off in that game. And they should come out pissed off. They should be pissed at themselves, but I think they're going to come out pissed off in that game. hopefully with Darisaw back in there, and I think they will win that game. That's one I think they will definitely win. Um, Obviously, if that one goes awry, then I don't know what they're going to do. But you know, you can dig out of 0-2. I mean, if you're being honest, the schedule, yeah, there's a couple tough games in there, but it's not unmanageable. And look, they under the circumstances they played a pretty decent game in one of the toughest places to play on a short week with very short-handed and got worse on the offensive line. But again, no moral victories. It doesn't matter. I mean, they played much better in this game than the Tampa game, but it's a loss. A loss is a loss either way. So, but I mean, I think there's a lot of good from this game, more than I expected. I mean, I only thought they'd lose by 10. They only lost by 6. But moral victories don't count in the standings. So, and of course, we're 0-2 in one-score games now after being 11-0 last year. Look, we never imagined that it was going to be the same this year. So you wish they had this level of performance maybe in the Philly game last year. Maybe they win that game, but they certainly played better than last year in the Philly game. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean they're actually better than they were last year, or that Philly's worse? I don't know. But so Chargers in 10 days. I'm sure the tank Nazis are just going nuts right now and figure out what other things we can blame Kirk Cousins for. Like, he was a fucking beast tonight. And it's kind of like, just like, is there a more Kirk Cousins play in the history of his career than throwing that pass to JJ? Great pass at the end of a really well done 2-minute drill, and it turns into a fumbled touchback, and you get nothing. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But I think they will. I think they're going to beat the Chargers in 10 days. I think they might kick their ass because they're going to come out really, really pissed off in that game. And we'll see. I don't even know who the Chargers play this week, but the Chargers are beatable. Hopefully we can have Darisaw in there. And I've talked too long. So don't give up. That's all I can say. Don't give up.